generally don't imagine something as catastrophic as losing all 4 of your limbs. But then something as even more incredible, which is the potential of getting limbs back. It's too weird to contemplate that. And yet here it is, this incredible, incredible event. If someone had said before, you're gonna lose your limbs, what are you gonna do about it? I would have basically said my life is probably over. But after it happened, I found out that people can endure a lot, and that we're really much more resilient than we might give ourselves credit for. I had set out to become a filmmaker and to be involved in academia, and I was doing both. In the spring of 2011, I felt a twinge in sort of my upper right leg. When I got to the doctor, he said, that doesn't really sound like a muscle pull to me. He began to be really alarmed. I lost function in my kidneys and liver and spleen, and my heart stopped 3 times. But what they found was a group A strep. Typically it's not invasive. I happened to get a variety or strand that was. When the doctors actually showed me what was happening to my arms, it was like looking at a mummy's arm. You know, my doctor said, we think we're going to have to amputate. I said, yeah, you're going to have to amputate. I was obviously devastated. I had no idea what hit me. Ultimately, my amputations ended up to be above my elbow on my left side, below my elbow on my right side, above my knee on my left side, and below my knee on my right side. The way I dealt with things psychologically was to kind of accept as fast as I could that this was a fact. To say, I'm not going to get my arms back, I'm not going to get my legs back, this happened, I have to figure it out. And really the motto became, figure it out. What are we going to do to get past this? I first learned about arm transplants being a possibility in the ICU. Very soon after I got back to Boston, I had a consult with a plastic surgeon. Would you ever consider upper extremity transplantation yourself? I had to decide whether, knowing the risks of the surgery, also the risks of being on immunosuppressants for a long time, to weigh those bad things against what we figured I would gain, which is arms. The evaluation was a year-long trial. I learned that I would be a good candidate. And as I accepted that, I also said, you know what? If I'm a good candidate, this is also an opportunity for me to actually be a test subject, essentially.
Single arm transplants are rare. Double arm transplants are very rare, and an arm transplant where at least one side is above the elbow is even rarer. So I think in Will's situation there are under 5 operations in the US that have been done that are similar to his.
Initially, I was apprehensive about the arm transplants, but I mean, I was never going to deny him the opportunity to be able to feel touch again.
I got the call and I heard my surgeon say that we found an appropriate donor match. This is now not just out there as an idea. This is an individual who has a family who is grieving, and all I can hope for is that they will consider this a way for their loved one to make a huge difference for me.
The surgery itself involved around 30 people and took just under 9 hours. The doctors bring the limbs from the other hospital, and then we start connecting up all the different structures. What we start with is the bones, then we join up the blood vessels so that there's blood supply to the part to keep it alive, and then piece by piece we have to put together every single structure, every single tendon, every single muscle, and every single nerve that's in that forearm needs to be put together.
We had a press conference in November of 2014 to announce that this surgery had taken place and that it was a success. And then the head of the New England Organ Bank read a statement from the donor's family.
Our son gave the best hugs.
We pray that you make a wonderful recovery and that your loved ones will be able to enjoy your warm embrace. I was totally blindsided by this statement and so moved, and yet I was supposed to be the next one to speak, and I had to recover because it was impossible for me to hear that and not have an emotional reaction. And when I woke up, I had arms. This new fact was absolutely breathtaking. There are differences between the hands that I used to have and my new hands. You know, this knuckle has a tiny scar and this knuckle has a tiny scar, and I think, what did he do? And I mean, everyone has scars on their knuckles, but you know, I didn't earn these. Someone else did.
Touching Will's hand for the first time after the surgery, it just blew me away. I think just to reach out and feel the warmth and feel the pulse and to know the reality that this was working, it's just an incredible sense of gratitude.
The nerves grow at about a rate of 1 millimeter a day, and so it's taking a long time, especially for the left, to come in and get to the point where I'm able to control my fingers and my wrist. I can move them a little bit, and I'm really happy about that. What was really difficult about not having arms, just everyday things. You want to be able to have access to drinking water, to hygiene and toileting, to dress yourself. And it took months and months of effort to either become proficient at some of them and then to realize that I needed some help with some of them. Now that I have arms, what's also difficult is that I have to relearn all of the stuff that I had already learned. So it's totally a learning process again.
He's taught me a lot about attitude and about ability to cope with adversity. The fact that in spite of all of these things that for many of us would be absolutely devastating, he's been able to forge ahead and he's been able to make the most of is incredible.
After I lost my arms, I forgot what it is that I was missing. I couldn't remember what it felt like in water or under a faucet. And so that I'm experiencing those things again completely freshly every day strikes me as a surprise, and that I feel a drop of rain, and before I might have thought, oh, get me out of this rain. And now I think I want to feel that again, this incredible sensation. It's just absolutely astonishing. That the sensory nerves are coming back is a very good sign. I will continue to feel more over the coming years, and that ideally some of my hand control will also get better and better over the next year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, you know. So for me now at 7 months, this is very, very early in my recovery. It is a restoration of my life. It's certainly a restoration of my image. The way people look at me now, in a sense, is with a lot less pity than people did before. I've always seen myself as a full person, even after my limb loss. But to be restored has definitely shifted my identity again. And I feel, you know, the sky's the limit.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.